The Deliverance. So, Nishkriti, this is by Sarat Chandra Chattopadhyay, and Shuddha did appreciate his intellect, the sharpness of his mind, one of the most, in terms of understanding human psychology, Shuddha highly appreciated him. At one point he also wanted to settle in the ashram, but for various reasons which need not be discussed, Shuddha very quietly, very subtly demotivated him, but he highly appreciated him. The history of this book is that Nishkriti, I think it was 40s when it came out, and Dilip Kumar Roy, who served as a common mediator between many others, so this book from Bengali had to be translated, and Sarat Chand looked for different people, but finally honed it on to Dilip Kumar Roy. And he wrote it, but he translated it, but he wanted Sri Aurobindo to go through, check it for any final corrections. And Sri Aurobindo very quietly initially mentions that, I wish I had the time, but maybe I will go through, in a day I get just 15 minutes. So if he is ready for giving me months, then I may be able to do some justice. So well, I am sure it must have been with him for some time. The fact that Sri Aurobindo held in its hands and had a look at it is enough for us to, that is a very special book. And this book has now been brought out by Sri Aurobindo Bhavan, Kolkata, where, as we know, it's a special place because Sri Aurobindo was born there. So for us, it's a Tirtha Sthali. So this book has been brought out. It is The Deliverance by Sarat Chandra Chattopadhyay, translated from the original Bengali by Dilip Kumar Roy, revised by Sri Aurobindo. Meaning thereby he has given some masterly touches. That's the special significance of the book. The second book is a very interesting book, important book for the lovers of the Life Divine. It's Sanskrit Citations of the Life Divine by Anil Baran Roy. Anil Baran Roy, he occupied the rooms that Sri Aurobindo occupied. And the one advice Sri Aurobindo had given to him, don't let the asan break, bhango habe devena. It's a different thing that he eventually went and he formed his own party, but that apart, intellectually he is one of those who probably very well understood intellectually what Sri Aurobindo is saying. So in the Life Divine we will see that there are English, Sri Aurobindo randomly, he did not write the Sanskrit, but he wrote the English translations of some of the slokas or richas from the Vedas, Upanishads, Gita, the Puranas. He has mentioned that. In between also, some places he suddenly mentions all this, that is the Brahman, Sarva Kalvidam Brahman. So he doesn't mention where exactly he has picked it up from. So it was given to Anil Baran Roy to bring out these Sanskrit citations, the corresponding Sanskrit words or hymn or the sloka as the case may be. So this is the work that he has done, and therefore it's kind of a compendium, we may say, those who are interested. The Life Divine is not the chapter wise, each chapter is not an expansion on the hymn or the sloka or the mantra. That's not what he did, but he has picked up. And later on, actually it was A.B. Purani who picked up randomly a number of selections which he thought will go with the chapter, and from that Sri Aurobindo picked up. This is later on when he was revising. But originally he just wrote the English like in Usha, so he writes something about Usha who comes and extends a birth threefold, and then subsequently he wrote the chapter, the human aspiration. But he never wrote the Sanskrit origin from where it has been taken out. So Anil Baran Roy has done this work. I think this was also published in 1943, and now after so many years, 80 years, it is being republished. It's a really, in a way, an invaluable work, especially for those who want to do an academic study of the language. Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much, sir.
So they reached in time. I sent it to you.
It reached well in time, so much earlier that I was wondering that I thought I am delivered, but why is this deliverance? Because I didn't have the background. But thank you so much. It reached well in time. It reached a few days. So then I saw Sarachan Chattopadhyay. As a youngster, I used to be fond of
That I inserted because it was my task.
Yes.
But I thought, let me give it to you also.
No, thank you so much. Yes, yes.
Vishwajit asked me to.
No, I have enjoyed his writings with those adolescent and post-adolescent days. I've enjoyed his writings, so it was beautiful to receive it. And then Shogunga had a book. So.
Dear guests, dear delegates, our final session this morning is dedicated to Sri Aurobindo's The Life Divine and his Integral Yoga. We have two speakers in this session, Alok Pandey and Dr. Larry Seidlitz. I request both speakers to take their place at the dais. We would like to request each speaker to take maybe 10 minutes to speak on the topics and then engage with each other and with the audience and take questions from the audience for another 10 to 15 minutes.
Okay, first I will speak on Sri Aurobindo's Integral Yoga. And I'll just give a very brief kind of overview of it. The practice of Sri Aurobindo's yoga can be conceptualized or practiced in many different ways. There's no single way to look at the yoga or to practice the yoga. One can look at it very simply as just to love the mother, to open up our heart to the mother. Or we can look at it in a much more complex way, to purify and develop each of the parts of our nature, all the different aspects of our mind, of our emotions, of our life forces, of our bodies, purify them of all that contradicts the divine, all that lowers them, and at the same time to develop them to their highest possible perfection, not leaving out any element. But however we conceptualize the yoga, perhaps whichever way we do it will fall within the general scheme that Sri Aurobindo laid out in the synthesis of yoga. And in the synthesis of yoga, he presents it in 5 sections. There's the introduction, the yoga of divine works, the yoga of integral knowledge, the yoga of divine love, and the yoga of self-perfection. And in the introduction, he begins by describing the various systems of yoga in India and how he integrates them into the integral yoga. And he speaks particularly about what he calls the triple path of devotion, knowledge, and works. And he gives kind of a very simple explanation of these by saying that what they are in essence is to turn our emotions, our thoughts, and our will away from the ordinary objects that we normally pursue, and to focus them instead on the divine. So it's a kind of a simple thing to understand as an idea, but to do that in practice, to focus all of one's mental pursuit on the divine, to focus one's will on the divine, on union with the divine, to focus all of one's emotions in the single emotion of love for the divine. So very, very elusive in practice, but it's something that we can gradually move towards. Then maybe just briefly I say a few words about these 4 different paths of yoga. So starting with the yoga of divine works. So here the main idea is to do each action as an offering to the divine. And these actions are not only our physical actions, our work that we may pursue as our main vocation, but all activities, inner and outer, all our thoughts, all our emotions are also actions. So these should all be done as an offering to the divine. And at the same time, with a growing feeling that it is the divine force working through us that enables us to do this. So these 2 things are the keys to the yoga of divine works. With the yoga of divine knowledge, Sri Aurobindo emphasizes this distinction that we can make in our minds between an observing being, an observing consciousness that looks out on all the works of nature, the things that are happening in the world around us, but also all the activities of our own nature, our own thoughts, our own emotions, our own vital instincts, drives. So these are 2 different aspects of our being. And there's the possibility of standing back and observing these activities disinterestedly as a witness, being uninvolved in them, and in a sense allowing them just to play out through the forces of nature. And we separate ourselves, and this can be fostered in our meditations, in our concentration, to stand back from our thoughts, quiet, within, observing, without moving, without becoming involved and taken away by the thoughts or feelings. So we can practice that there. And as that separation between this Purusha witness consciousness and the outer activities of the nature develops, as we take our seat of consciousness deeper within, then also we can open more readily to the divine consciousness above and to receive from there the inspiration, the initiation of our movements. So instead of reacting to things that happen around us, we are led to respond in a way more in unity with the divine force that's moving through us. The yoga of devotion is summed up in a growing love and devotion for the divine. But Sri Aurobindo's conception of the divine is not just as a being who is transcendent to the universe, but as a being that is immanent in all things around us. And in each individual that we meet, the divine is also there, seated within their heart, within their soul. So we can also meet the divine that express that love to the divine in each being around us, in each thing that we utilize. See the divine in the material world, in the activities of life, in the circumstances in which we live and in the world, that the divine is embracing us everywhere. And also, most importantly, perhaps, that the divine is seated within us. That we have this divine element within our own hearts, and that it's the object of the yoga to bring that out more clearly, more forcefully in our lives, more prominently. To concentrate also there in our heart, to bring that out, not to become lost in all the surface activities of life. And the yoga of self-perfection, Sri Aurobindo describes as being more tied to this tantric tradition of India, whereas the triple path is more Vedantic in principle, focused on the realization of the Purusha. The yoga of self-perfection and this tantric tradition focused on the energy of nature. And here Sri Aurobindo makes an important distinction, however, between the higher nature, the divine Shakti, and the lower nature, the ignorant nature that's divided and has lost its conscious connection with the oneness of being. So in the yoga of self-perfection, we turn to the divine Shakti, the conscious power of the divine to transform us, to change us, and to perfect our nature. So we talked earlier about the triple path also working to develop our instruments of the nature, our mind, our life energies, our emotions, our bodies to their utmost possible perfection. So here that becomes a focus as well. And Sri Aurobindo describes in some detail the different aspects of all these parts of our being and how they can be purified and refined and developed. Another aspect that he talks about in some detail, devoting, I think, maybe 4 chapters to, is the cultivation of equality or equanimity. So this is crucial to the yoga, to be able to stand back from the activities of the nature, but also to all of the impacts of the world around us, and to remain seated in our consciousness, quiet, unperturbed, unmoved by all of these impacts upon us, to be able to withstand them, to be able to eventually master them, but first to be able to remain quiet and unaffected. And another aspect that's important in the yoga of self-perfection is the development of the higher spiritual consciousness, the higher levels of the spiritual mind, of intuition, leading towards the supermind. So eventually, the level of intuition, or let's say the intuitive mind, has to supplant, has to take the place of our normal intellectual mind. We have to become more intuitive and more open to the higher levels of consciousness, quietly opening ourselves to them and to their influence from above. Eventually, we have to receive from this supermind its rays and light, and eventually move into it. But that's a long way off. We can move in that journey towards it. Because that alone, that supermental consciousness alone, has the power to truly transform our being and our lower nature and the world around us. So with that, I'll close.
We start with something which, how the yoga unfolds through everyday event of life. So I was waiting for the car, and it took time. It got lost here and there. Finally, it came. I was getting late. I messaged, and then as I was coming, I was getting late. Phrase flashed through my mind, which revealed a dimension of yoga. The determination is to reach the destination, but what stands between the determination and the destination is destiny. By destiny, I mean the complex play of forces. And I realized by pushing the driver further, by trying to tell him why did you get late, it doesn't serve any purpose. So I did what we have to practice in yoga, practice equanimity, acceptance, surrender. So I thought it's an opportunity to do that. All these reactions, instead of that, sit in meditation quietly. The beauty was that when I reached, I checked my time and it was sharp 12. So I said, okay, he knows his ways because he is the charioteer and the pilot. So the life divine is the inevitable destiny of mankind. And the logic is very simple, because all things owe their origin ultimately to the divine. There cannot be 2, 3, 100 origins. So life also owes its origin to the divine. It's the consciousness force of the divine which is struggling here and which has come here actually to rescue us. But it goes through a whole process which we need not enter into. Till a time comes when life begins to consciously seek its own highest possibility, which is the divine. So what happens in the course of this seeking and the journey, it undergoes a series of transmutation. And the transmutations first take place within us, and then they begin to start radiating, manifesting in outer nature, outer life. So logic, what I'm trying to say, don't look for a Superman on the surface being. Okay, you'll be disappointed. If you want to find one, seek in, if one can, enter into his depths, seek in his aspiration, in his faith, in his will to be. As the Gita says, man is what his faith is and his will to be. That's where the Superman or the new creation is being formed. And then slowly it begins to manifest, and a whole lot of experiences, phenomena. It's a whole journey, fascinating journey, delightfully dangerous journey. Dangerous because it's the peril of leaving the safe shores. The finite life has fixed boundaries. And we operate within those boundaries. The mind everything must operate within its frame. And what goes beyond its frame is magic of the infinite or the logic of the infinite. It's a new kind of grammar. We don't know. Our grammar follows certain rules. But for the divine, he can be I and I can be he, and that also can be I and he. This is just a way of saying. Okay? So, because all is for him, the same reality, same he is himself become all this. So deep within it is the journey of the divine within us. Meaning thereby, much more than me. It is He who is keen to carry us. Shubhendra says in one of his in synthesis itself, He who has chosen the infinite has been chosen by the infinite. So before we make a choice, the time comes when He says, okay, this fellow. And we would be very happy. He has chosen me for Mission Impossible. But don't worry, Mission Impossible Part 1 will go on to 2, 3, 4, 5. Each possibility opens the door to a new impossibility. Someone told once very simple story. It's like you jump, in high jump, you cross 3 feet. So what does the Divine Mother do? She doesn't say, oh very good, fantastic. Yeah, she may do that. But by the time you turn around, she has pushed the bar to 4. So, there is no rest for the embodied soul, it has found itself. And the nomes of God has overtaken his night. Right now we live in that night of ignorance, and therefore we start the yoga with journey to the life divine with aspiration. Aspiration is it's itself a tapasya. Tapasya is what a concentrated energy of spiritual endeavor. Tapasya has nothing to do with the dress I wear. It has nothing to do with what I am doing outwardly. It's an inner state. So in that inner state where our energy is, thoughts directed toward the divine, I want to know what the divine, whatever way we use, I want to have true knowledge, truth which has no errors, etc., etc. Heart which wants to find that one love, that one is seeking behind 1,000 faces and finds and loses. So one seeks that one love, that eternal lover and beloved who charms us through many forms and figures and then vanishes. So ultimately the heart says, where are you? You know, small little story. I'll finish in 10 minutes. Bilva Mangal, we know he was looking for, here, there, all kinds of his, what today we call, anyway, let me not take the name. He was falling in and out of love. Till one day, Krishna said, okay, now your past things are over, now I'll come and catch you. One day he gets so frustrated with his life that he says, I am going to pierce my eyes. These are the cause of all the problem. So he pierces his eyes. Bilva Mangal, okay, check out his story on the web. So when he pierces his eyes, then Krishna comes. And initially he starts hearing the flute. One day Krishna catches him while doing something. He was about to fall and he holds his hand and saves him. So he wants to catch him, but he escapes. He says, catch me if you can. And then Bilva Mangal writes a very beautiful hymn. He says, okay, you can take yourself away from my hand, but you cannot take yourself away from my heart. And a new journey begins. In traditional yoga, we shut the doors of the senses to find God. Here, we refine the gates of the senses. We purify them till we find the one divine. It's not easy. One starts with the conception idea. Similarly with the will, which is engaged in 100,000 activities, efforts, desires, when that becomes concentrated in one will, I want to serve the divine. Till you discover that even this is an illusion that you are serving the divine. He has given you the privilege and the chance. Basically, all is done by him. Even if one says I am an instrument, that is too big a order, because the whole creation is an instrument. What we call as good, what we call as bad, everything becomes an instrument for the great efflorescence. Then one enters into a wideness and the vision of the divine in all things and everywhere. It's a long journey which culminates in the life divine. Yet, just 3-4 important things, very quickly. Showing wrote a series of writings before coming to Pondicherry. All of them are beautiful, of course, everything that he put into. And then a series of writings before the mother's definitive arrival. 1914 to 1920, we have these wonderful works, major works. Life Divine, The Life Divine is one of them. Synthesis of Yoga is one of them. Many human cycle. And then 1926, after Shri Krishna's identification and Shubhendra steps behind and he lets the mother in the front, he wrote one book. It's a one-stop shopper, spiritual shopper if you want to say. And it's a very small book, just 62 small pages. It contains everything about the yoga. What is it? The Mother. So The Mother is a wonderful work, and there he says that the effort required in this yoga is aspiration, rejection and surrender. Aspiration for the divine life. No amount of method, no amount of techniques matters. The divine knows himself in the heart of the seeker, and as the mother says that one phrase, only two things are needed. Do not cling to the old, to the past, to the things that have been, pages that have been turned by the divine. Yes, their truth will always remain, but it will always take new forms. So, do not cling. And the second she says, thirst. We really seek the divine, that's how she says. And if we seek the divine, we may not use the word divine, we may say the perfection that we want to see in life, the ideal that we want to see realized. Though mental ideal is a thing very different from the spiritual manifestation of the divine reality, but it can take any form. She says, if you have the thirst, then the extravagances of an American youth are the path. So the path is everywhere, through everything, in everything. Everything can become a means to manifest the divine. All discloses the unseen beloved if the fire is burning, because that fire will show us, oh, okay, I thought it's a bad event. Oh, Krishna is smiling behind all this naughtiness. Life becomes beautiful. And then, of course, the eyes of ignorance, we know, even if Krishna stands with his Vishwarup, we'll say, oh, you are a trickster. That's how human mind is. Duryodhana's eye of ignorance, Arjuna's eye of wisdom. He sees Krishna behind the destruction of the entire, out of 18 Akshauhini, I don't know what, it would be million or whatever number of people, only 18 survived. And Arjuna, with his eyes where wisdom is unseen, he sees the Lord manifesting himself through this great destruction. As Shubhendra says, men die, that man may live and God be born. So all this creation is for manifestation of the divine. This is the essence of the life divine. And how we can participate? By this great vision. But when the eyes are sealed, eye of wisdom is sealed by the thick layer of ignorance which sees only its own little selfish interest and its own desires and preferences, then like Duryodhana we say, chain him. He is too much in his infinite freedom. We can chain God, but for that we have to first chain the cosmos. Or else we have to chain him with one God, which is the God of love. O thou who disdainest not the worm to be, nor even the clod, therefore we know by that humility that thou art God. And another before that, a line that I wanted to say, O thou who pervadest all the worlds below, yet sittest above, master of all who work and rule and know, servant of love. This is the chain that can hold. So, aspiration, rejection, surrender. What we have to reject? What is he asking us to leave? Nothing outside. We don't have to change our garbs, for God's sake. That looks grotesque when inwardly we are not really renounced anything. Put a crown on a pig's head, it looks ugly. When we change within, we don't need to change the garb. We don't need to change anything, but change our consciousness. And that's where rejection comes into play. All the old ways to which the mind operates, rejection is not only about the Shadripu. Everybody talks about the 6 demons inside Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Moha, Matsya. What about the mental ideas, opinions, thoughts, preferences? How will intuitive light come if I am stuck to my own ideas and idealisms? My own democracy, dictatorship, communism, capitalism, computerism, consumerism. It won't come. The new truth needs a vast open field. So rejection of all this and to remain open. You tell me, I don't understand. Reading Shobhindu, I don't understand. You reveal. You have written it, you better reveal to me. I am telling you it works, and perhaps it's the only thing that works. Try, test it several times. So, and the last, but also not the least, but also the first, and in the middle and the end is surrender. This yoga cannot be done by any human tapasya. And what it means we have to surrender, start with is central surrender. I am yours, take me. Looks very happy, I am God, so wow, wonderful. He says yes. After that, I want to come with you, but can I take my bag also? Hey, can I take this person also? Can I take this house with me? You come with me. Where are you taking me to? Kailas or Vaikuntha? No, I am taking you to Kurukshetra. Surrender is not easy. It starts with central surrender, and surrender becomes the path also. Everything that comes in life. Why surrender is meant to keep offering to her. To start with that. Ultimately surrender is ultimate, but start with offering. Consecration. This I think is mine, but I give it to you. So that purifies it. Consecration is the fire that purifies it. So when I say that this money is not mine, though I have it in my purse, it is the mother. Then I can't just spend it on going and just picking up things from the meat market or the street market. So I have to spend it in the way that she would want me to spend it. It's a big tapasya in its own right. Everything applies to that. Because I'm surrendered. Surrender means now I have to obey your will. Doesn't matter. My mind may say something else, but I'm yours. So what does a surrendered person say? He says, tell me what I have to do. Surrender means that once I have surrendered, I can't say my will. Then ultimate peak of surrender is let thy will be done and not mine. So this is the journey of the life divine. Several steps and stages showing the marks out. First and the most important, the one without which all others become very difficult and dangerous. And that is the psychic change. The psychic transformation with the personal divinity, and nearest and the easiest, and comes also in a very simple way. To love the mother. Oh, loving is very difficult. We don't even know how to love human beings. Forget about loving. We can use the word I love the mother. So remember, Srimati Gibson makes it easier for us because he's like a real dad. My children can't do it. So he says, he doesn't say love the mother. He says that, but he says more importantly, remember, know that the mother loves you. And you are the mothers. Base your life in this one single truth. Can yoga be easier than this? Just to practice it that the mother loves me. Whatever may happen in my life, mother loves me and I am the mother's. And truly it's a mantra of mantras. So when we practice love the divine this way, devotion has nothing to do with outer jumping and dancing and singing songs. But it's that beautiful flame that gives itself to the divine. That is devotion. Faith. Shobinda speaks of Kalyana Shraddha. Whatever may happen, to trust that ultimately, whatever the divine wants, ultimately will be for the good. This belief or faith or trust in the truth's ultimate beauty, in the ultimate victory of the divine, regardless of situation, circumstances, is Kalyana Shraddha. And along with faith and devotion, surrender, to keep our mind, heart focused on the mother. And that's the path. And this path is everywhere and in everything. And those who are born to walk the way will walk it anywhere. And somebody had come to Golkul, I forget from where he had come, and asked the mother, should I do the yoga in the ashram or should I go back? Mother says, the world is here, means you can't escape from the world. It is here in Auroville ashram. These are not escapades. And then she says something very beautiful. Those who are meant to do the yoga will do it anywhere. And those who cannot do the yoga will not do it anywhere. And of course, there are many dimensions, aspects. This is a dip into the ocean of the infinite. Shubhita takes us on a tour de Akash Ganga. Okay. Not tour de France, but tour de not even cosmos. The entire Ganges, all the ghats and the Akash Ganga in the Jata of Shiva and in the Kamandalu of Brahma, in the heart of Vishnu and beyond, that purifying flame, it takes us through that entire journey. We can't just say, I want to go to Nainital and rest. It's a nice place. So it will take us through the entire journey. It's a beautiful journey. It's beautiful, delightful because she holds us throughout. And the moment we forget this simple truth, life becomes dangerous. It hits us very hard, especially when we have taken to yoga. And that's why we will close with this one single sentence when Shiva was asked where he combines yoga and the divine life. So he was asked by Nirodha, what is the central secret of this sadhana? He says there are two secrets. And then he reveals first one. The first is to open psychically to the Divine Mother. Or rather to remain psychically open. Exact words there. Psychically. Psychic makes no demand. It loves because it takes the joy of loving. That's it. Like falling in love. That's it. So, to remain psychically open to the mother. It means the mind doesn't judge her ways, but lends itself to understand the ways and act accordingly. And then he stopped. So Nirodha, smart disciples, he said, sir, you said 2 secrets. What is the other one? He said, aspiration for the divine life. Because we may turn to the mother for peace, for children getting admission in, I don't know, no university is worth it. So I can't take it. Because people have disconnected from the university called life. Okay, anyway. So, we have to turn within aspiration, not even for escape from this problem, that problem, from worldly life. This is one of the big distinctions between traditional yoga and Shuddha yoga. The big distinction being traditional yoga is turned, not in heydays, but last 2000 years, 2500 years, 3000 years, towards a escape from this life. There may have been the other line also, but eventually it took that route, which is a subtle kind of egoism and selfishness, where I want to escape from this Jhanjat Janila. So they are a different breed, but those who say, well, if you will that I should work even in the dungeon, just let me know that's your will, be with me, and I'll be happy to do that. And well, when the divine is there, dungeon is paradise. And without the divine, paradise is mated with fools. Okay, so I'll just close here. I know there's paucity of time, but any questions, please.
So, if the audience have questions, you're most welcome to. Maybe you can come down here and use the mic.
Questions are welcome, with due consideration that many people may be waiting for lunch. Those who are hungry, I'm joking.
Not so long.
Just exchange. Yeah.
You know, in Ajana, the Mandamata said, when Krishna, 1926, entered in Sri Aurobindo, is better for Krishna, not Sri Aurobindo. It's possible to explain?
Well, see, that statement was not made. It has been, I know it is what Mother has said exactly in the agenda. It's like it was a time when the gods were descending. So, if I like the Sanskrit word that between the Manava, man, Manusha as he is thinker man, and the Divya Manav, which is the divine man, there is a plane of the gods. So Deva Manav, that's how I use the word. Man becomes like the gods. He has to become that. He has to go through that phase before he can become the divine humanity of the future. So this effort of making a godlike humanity has been done in the past. We will read accounts of moments when the avatar comes and gods begin to descend into the earthly plane and influence. So that kind of a thing had started. And the mother didn't want the disciples to do any effort. She is a mother, so she wants to cook the meals, put it in front of us, take it in her hands and feed us. And if we close the mouth, she will try to all her tricks to make us open also. So this is what was happening. So all these gods came unasked for because the Divine Mother is there. So during this time, she asked these gods, you people are coming, wonderful people, you have helped creation. They continue to help creation also. They are friends and brothers and sisters. So would you like to attach yourself to one of the human beings? No. This is too much. Human beings are too small, narrow. We are cosmic beings. She said, okay, what can you do? So each of them said, I'll do this, I'll do that. Shiva said, I'll remain above. I'll come with a body in the supramental creation. But until then, I can grant whatever you want. So she said, okay, I'm just wanting to dissolve the physical ego. So can you do that? And Shiva started, Tandava and the physical ego started getting disintegrated. She goes to Shravitra and says, I have a funny feeling all my cells are scattering. And Shravitra said, no, not now. So it stopped. And she had this experience after 1960 when it was required. Meanwhile, Shri Krishna agreed. So she saw Shri Krishna. Which Shri Krishna? See, Shri Krishna as the supreme personality of the Godhead, she is not speaking of that. Shri Krishna is earthly personality. He took an earthly personality for the sake of continuing the work. And she saw that earthly, divinely human personality, which is very charming as the avatar, which went and fused into Shri Aurobindo, which is very natural. We have this account also in Ramayana, narrated in different way between Parshuram and Ram. Anyway, so when this happens, this is because of the continuity of the story. So she goes to Shri Aurobindo to tell him what she has seen. There she says, he himself was quite indifferent to it. All that he said is, I know. That's all. So he didn't say it is good for Shri Krishna, that's an zealous enthusiasm of a disciple. But in the sense, yes, Shri Krishna's work had the last spark of Shri Krishna's power that he had unleashed upon earth. It vanished with the last spark on the pyre of Rani Lakshmi Bai. This is Shri Aurobindo's words. So he says that till then his stage carried on through countless hero warriors, saints, mystics, and lovers. His that power that he had got, that devotion that he had released on earth. So it carried on, but ultimately Buddhism and Sankaracharya got eclipsed slowly, and God eclipsed himself. Let's put it like that, because it was necessary for a certain purpose. Now, between that period, 1857 and 1905, we have a big gap. And then Shri Aurobindo comes up on the scene and continues. Now, he is the one who has to carry on the work further. So, what Shri Krishna does from 1908 till 1926, he prepares fully. It's like the avatar of the past and the avatar of the future. So he gave all that he had to give. Many people came, like Swami Vivekananda came, Sri Ramakrishna came, many others came, though people only speak. So many, yes, people only talk about Swami Vivekananda. Many of them came, like with Mother, many masters came. Because all that is beautiful in the past had to be kept. And one could speak so much about it, but to limit it to Shri Krishna. So Shri Krishna from 1908 onwards, 1909, he's in Alipur jail, he starts preparing him about all the work that Shri Aurobindo has to do as the avatar. In 1926, when all is ready, right, it is Siddhi. Shri Aurobindo's individual sadhana is complete. He speaks about it in Records of Yoga. Records of Yoga ceased after 1927. That's when he fuses with Shri Aurobindo and says, okay, now you carry on. And then he starts the so-called disciples around him, the ashram, the mother in the forefront, because now this is Shri Aurobindo's age. So it's a transfer of the age of Shri Krishna into the, Shri Krishna comes at the end of Dwapar, and this is the end of Kali to the new Satyug. This is the transfer of that age to a new hands, same divine, but taking it one step further in the march of mankind. Yes, definitely. So she spoke of this in the eternity of becoming. Each avatar is the forerunner of a more complete realization of the future. But man have a tendency to deify the avatars of the past in opposition to avatar of the future. Those who have come before Shri Aurobindo have met the same difficulty. See, during Shri Krishna's time, who recognized him? And Shri Aurobindo comes with this message, he meets the same resistance as of those who have gone before him. But tomorrow will prove the truth of his words and his work will be done. So that's the closest that comes to good for Shri Krishna. The work that Shri Krishna had come to do has been handed over to Shri Aurobindo to carry it further. That's all.
Thank you.
Shri Krishna came to give us delight and freedom while leading a normal life. Mother's words. Delight means divine delight, and freedom, the true freedom. He showed a way, wide way. But man is not ready without the truth consciousness. And I don't want to use words. There are movements that started around Shri Krishna claiming delight and freedom, but what happened to it, I don't want to speak about it. But that's why first truth consciousness. Then the dance of Krishna and Radha, Before that, we are still in the Krishna and Kali's dance going on, and Kali is fast forward.
But also when I met Joshi in care,
Yeah.
at this moment, he told me your soul is the essence of the Radha.
Soul is the?
Tell me the essence Radha inside.
Essence of Radha.
My soul.
Soul is?
Essence of Radha.
Well, it's a way of, somebody else may equally say that, of Divine Mother. That's okay, that's an individual way. But all souls are portion of the Divine Mother. Radha is one of the aspects and forms of the Divine Mother.
Sacrifice everything.
All souls are portions of the Divine Mother, and that's what is the truth. And even the Gita says it very interestingly. Para prakriti jiva bhuta. It is her portion. That's why the soul can make a straight response to the Divine Mother. Soul recognizes without any ifs and buts. But when the soul is not touched and awakened, the mind says, is she not? Is she not? Yeah. It recognizes in all her manifestations.
Thank you.
Dear friends, maybe last question.
Yes, thank you for welcoming us in your reflection. I'm new in Auroville. I've heard that you're presenting the path of self-realization as coming maybe after or like with the triple path of surrender, rejection, and aspiration. Can you go a little bit further into how both are linked? If there is like this self-realization that is supposed to go from the nutrition to supermind, how
Yes.
is described more in depth?
Self-realization is one of the destinations, one of the goals of any yogic life, even in this yoga. One has to discover that true self. The real journey begins from there. In the traditional path of, traditional by that I mean, I think you are referring to Kriya Yoga way. Yeah, so in Kriya Yoga, the self-realization is given through a certain method, and that method, as I have understood it, there is a kind of meditation which is involved, there is devotion, there is also some kind of service to God which is pretty close, and some kriyas are given. It's a path to realize the self. And there are several paths to realize the self. Self is the nodal point. By self, I mean the true self. Now, in Sri Aurobindo's yoga, one has to realize the true self. But here, the self-realization must be a starting point for a new journey altogether, which is about transformation of nature. This is the fundamental difference. And here, because the goal is transformation of the nature, so we start from the journey with the mother. And the reason is very simple. It's like, and it's very beautiful in the ashram school, this symbol comes very beautifully. When you look at the Divine Mother, she, all the experiences, what she has taught in the conversations, everything, greater than the greatest of yogis. Sri Aurobindo said, you have gone far beyond the realization of the Upanishadic rishis. All that is there. And if you read into her realization, it's just mind-boggling. Even prayers and meditation is there. But at the same time, she was teaching children of the ashram school, those teeny little ones. And during her classes, the big fellows, they also started coming because mother is teaching. Now, this is a very symbolic thing. She will pick you up from wherever you are and start working on the nature so that it has to eventually go beyond that bar of self-realization. Because when we go to realize the self by excluding the world, which has become a journey, ultimately, what is called as moksha, then I can't return back because I have left the material. As I said, shutting the eyes. Bill Mangal shut his eyes or pierce through them. There are people who shut all their indriyas. They like, I will not taste good food. I'll take only, noodles and macaroni. I mean, meats. So, therefore I will realize the self. But here, everything goes together. So that when the realization takes place, this is reasonably ready. That's what Larry hinted at. Working on the lower hemisphere so that it is also ready when the higher force comes, descent, which is an important element of this yoga, different from self-realization. So that when the higher force comes, it finds room in a mind which is wide and ready and supple. It finds room to operate through a heart which has become wide and sweet. And by giving to the divine, it is ready to receive that love. And the will is ready because it's no more preoccupied with its selfish interest. So that is the big difference. In fact, I mean, this one path I don't want to comment more on it because each path is unique and it should be respected. But it is the yoga of transformation, which in all paths, like including self-realization path by the Swami Yoganands, the Yoga Nanda Paramhans, and many others, the different paths. Ultimately, you realize that core which is there, which is pure and beautiful. But nature doesn't undergo change beyond a point, because when you have to realize, you have to do a little bit of what is called in traditional yoga as sattva samsuddhi. You can't be indulgent in gross lower nature and realize the self. I mean, you can, divine can do anything. But by and large, it's important to work on that. But not transformation. It's only clear that much that I have a narrow lane through which I can enter. But here, in narrow lane, to realize the self is not enough. The entire field has to be prepared, ready, and turned into a garden of God. This is the big challenge which you find in Mati Mandir as a symbol and in Auroville. It's not enough to just realize this inside me, but in the world around, in all my relationship, in my house, in my field, in the field, because it's no more mine. It's all belongs to the divine and must become the divine. So that's a nutshell. So,
what about the tradition of the Siddhas? Is it different as well?
Tradition of the
Siddha.
Yes. Siddha is a word used for perfection, perfect one. Now, perfection of the soul is what is called as a Siddha, traditionally I am saying. So what happens when the soul arrives at its full potential, which is to manifest the divinity within it. Say for instance, if I discover that I am born to, I means the soul within me is meant to manifest the divine wisdom, and I arrive at its fullness, then there is the Siddha. But my nature, operating system is still the same. It's like I learn music from Shiva or flute from Krishna and the dance from Krishna. And I say, this is so enrapturing, it's captivating. So people say, okay, can you show me? So I say, no, I can teach you the way to go there and hear it. What about you expressing it? And if I try to express it, I will not be Hari, but Hari Prasad Chaurasiya, which is a different thing altogether. I mean, Hari Prasad Chaurasiya is a good flute player, but Hari is Hari. Krishna's flute is Krishna's flute. But one day, every soul must be able to play the flute of Krishna. That's how he says, I have not come here to call the souls to establish a mutt or a sannyasis, but I have come here to call the souls of the strong to the Leela of Krishna and Kali. When every girl and every boy in the crowd becomes, full of that strength and beauty and laughter of Sri Krishna, I mean, the divine, then we can say that yes, this is fulfilled. So Siddha is used in two ways. One is Siddhi of the soul, it arrives at its own fullness and perfection. The other is Siddhi at every level, which must arrive at its own absolute possibility. The mind at absolute knowledge through the doors of the intuitive knowledge, the heart become brimming with divine love, not this struggling human love, or love which is all about charity and human idealism, and the will is one with the omnipotent pusa will of the divine, and the body itself becomes a tabernacle of God. So that is not talked about in traditional books.
I'll say one word about this too, about the difference. I think that the main thing is that Sri Aurobindo was aiming not just at the realization for the individual, but he was aiming at to bring a new world, a new transformed world here on earth. That he was opening up to a divine power that was not here previously in any of the realizations, and to bring that power that would transform life and take our evolution to the next step, where there would be a new race of divine beings here on earth. So that is something, it's like a very dynamic kind of yoga that's very, world transforming. It's not just an individual transformation, or it's not just even an individual realization of the divine in one's inner consciousness, but a completely new, changed earth.
Also, the self can be realized at any level. because it's everywhere. But to climb to the supramental is necessary. Precisely, thank you for adding that, for the transformation. Because that's where we get the fullness of the self in all its splendor. Otherwise, one can realize Shivabuddha himself had the first experience of the self at the age of 18 in London by reading a book on the commentary of the Citation. Those kind of experiences are plenty. But self in all its splendor, that's what is Aditya, the supramental sun. It is unveiled creator. Here too we can have a glimpse of the creator and plunge into it. That's a big difference about the supramental. Thank you.
I guess we should thank our respected speakers today and offer them as a token of our heartfelt appreciation the mementos. Our family, and Dr. Mary Seidlitz. We apologize if the mementos today are very heavy, but what to do? They're heavy with all the knowledge that have absorbed in today's session, so we cannot help it.
Carry it over our head.
Thank you very much indeed. So.